Kennywood explained. Kennywood started its life as a trolley park back in 1899. Trolley parks were the precursor to the modern day amusement parks that we now know and love. In the 19th century, recreational areas were created at the end of streetcar lines, also known as tram lines. Trolley parks were created to give people an incentive to use the network at the weekends. Throughout the century, trolley parks across the country expanded to attract new guests. Many added additional attractions such as swimming pools, carousels, Ferris wheels, and eventually roller coasters. Kennywood now remains as part of a handful of trolley parks that still operate today. From 1906 to 2007, the park was owned and operated as part of a family business which later became the Kennywood Entertainment Company. The park has been in operation for over 100 years and as a result has become one of only 2 amusement parks that have been listed in the National Register of Historic Places in America. In 1920, Kennywood debuted its first roller coaster that is still in operation today. The ride, named Jackrabbit, is a wooden roller coaster featuring a traditional out and back layout. The ride stands only 12 metres high, but through clever use of the terrain, features a 21 metre double down drop. At this point in the coaster, riders will achieve a large amount of airtime. Interestingly, the lift hill can be found in the middle of the layout, as the riders enter a drop immediately after the station. Kennywood, through its old nature, retains much of its charm throughout the park. To gain access to the park, visitors must enter via a foot tunnel, which can be found after the main entrance. In addition to having many historic buildings, various types of water fountains can be found scattered around the park. Kennywood is also home to several themed areas, including that of Kiddyland, a children's area. Inside Kiddyland, smaller versions of various rides around the park can be found. A notable ride, Lil Phantom, is the only children's coaster at the park. Kennywood's second oldest operating roller coaster, Thunderbolt, opened in 1924 under the name Pippin. Following a restoration of the ride, its name was changed. Similar to Jackrabbit, the ride was built on hilly terrain. This allows for the coaster to feature a 29 metre drop despite only measuring 21 metres high. Due to the nature of the ride, the park enforces a rule which states that smaller riders must sit to the right. This has been imposed because of the forceful helix that guests will encounter during the experience. Kennywood also features multiple dark rides, including that of Garfield's Nightmare, Noah's Ark, and Ghostwood Estate. One of the most well-known parts of the Kennywood experience isn't a ride. In fact, it is a food item, the potato patch fries. These fries have been covered in melted cheese and are a fan favourite for guests who visit the park. They can be found and bought at the Potato Patch. The third and final operating wooden roller coaster at the park is Racer, a dual-tracked racing coaster. Racer opened to the public in 1927 and is one of the few Mobius loop coasters that remain in the world. The ride features 2 stations but a single connected track. As the trains race each other through the layout, they will return into the opposite station that they departed from. This means that 2 continuous rides are required to complete a full loop. At several points throughout the layout, riders are close enough to high-five those on the other train. Over 60 years after the opening of Racer, Kennywood produced their next roller coaster, which remains the largest attraction in the park's history. Phantom's Revenge, initially known as Steel Phantom when it opened in 1991, was originally manufactured by Aerodynamics. Upon opening, the ride was the fastest roller coaster and had the longest drop of any roller coaster in the world. The ride measures 49 metres high and has a top speed of 137 km per hour. Interestingly, the second drop on Phantom's Revenge is larger than the first, as the riders plummet into a natural ravine underneath that of Thunderbolt. The original ride, Steel Phantom, had a total of 4 inversions. However, for the 2001 season, the ride was renovated due to complaints of its roughness. D.H. Morgan Manufacturing were given the task of altering the ride, which led to the removal of most of the track, including the inversions. Now, the ride is loved by enthusiasts due to the stunning second drop and the unbelievable amount of ejector airtime. Kennywood is also home to a large amount of flat rides. Noteworthy thrill rides include that of Black Widow, Aero 360, and Swing Shot. The park also operates other classic flats, including that of Turtle, Whip, Paratrooper, and Kangaroo. 3 water rides are currently open at the park, including Logjammer, Pittsburgh Plunge, and Raging Rapids. The next roller coaster to open at the park was Exterminator, an enclosed steel spinning roller coaster in 1999. Riders are said to be rats attempting to escape from Kennywood exterminators. A large amount of theming can be found in the queue of the ride, setting the scene for the actual ride experience. The park's most recent roller coaster, Skyrocket, is an LSM launch coaster that opened in 2010. The ride was constructed by Premier Rides and marked the return of inversions to the park. The ride features an 80 km/h launch and has a total of 3 inversions. Immediately after the launch, riders enter a top hat element measuring 29 metres high. The ride also features a lap bar harness system instead of the more traditional over-the-shoulder restraint, making the ride experience more comfortable. Throughout its 117 years of operation, Kennywood has left guests wanting to come back year after year for its unique attractions and charming history. For this reason, Kennywood remains a fan favourite among coaster enthusiasts around the world.